Guys, so I decided that today, well, firstly I've done 2 videos already and both of them I hated and took way too long, so I'm gonna do a quick video, to sort of like the ending of my last video, is how I personally dealt with bullying. Now I know this isn't gonna help everyone, but hopefully it'll at least help someone. So here we go! So my first tip for dealing with bullying is learn to laugh. Like, if you can laugh at yourself and like when the bullies are like, oh, you're like, I don't know, try to think of something. I don't know, if like a bully's just like picking on you, be like, haha, I don't give a shit. I know it's really hard to say, like I dealt with bullying a lot for a very long time. But even now, I still look back and laugh at it, and it wouldn't have made me who I am now if I hadn't have gone through it. The other thing is you need to tell someone that it's happening. A friend, a parent, a teacher, somebody that you trust, and someone that can try to help you get through it. I personally, my friends all knew about it, and they tried to help by like being like, that's not true, and then the bullies just change it to suit my situation, which is really, really dog of them. But I eventually decided, hey, I need to tell my parents about this. And so I did, and the thing is you can't just tell your parents, because parents of course dealt with bullying differently. They dealt with bullying is at the schoolyard and that's the end of it. That once you leave the schoolyard it's over, you don't have to deal with it anymore. That's how they still see bullying a lot of the time. You need to tell them like it's not just at school, it's on Facebook. When I was younger, it was on MySpace and stuff like that. Like you need to tell them like it's not just they're bullying me at school and that's the end of it. If they're following you home, you definitely need to tell them that they are like following you home, or like they're basically like stalking you and could possibly know where you live and you don't feel safe anymore. You need to tell them if they're messaging you on Facebook. You need to tell them if they're Skyping you. You need to tell them if they're texting you. For a little while I had, like, it wasn't a ban on MySpace, but my mum had to look at my MySpace to see what was up there, to see who I was friends with and stuff. And yes, they are going to go, who's this? Well, who's this? Who's this? And you just need to sort of just accept it, because if you don't, then they're going to think like, oh, well, then it can't be that big a deal if they're abusing you on MySpace, but you're not willing to let me know about it. So you need to tell them and show them like what you mean. You can't just be like, I'm being bullied. And when they say, well, I was bullied, look at me now. You can't just expect them to just flick the switch and be like, oh my god, it's changed, things are different these days. Like you can't expect them to think that way like that. You have to show them and tell them and explain it to them. Yeah, those were the main ways I dealt with bullying. And before people say, well, what did you do about it? I dropped out of high school. Now here's the thing with that. You need to know, like, you can't just say, oh, I'm just going to drop out and just work at Macca's. And that's the end of your plan. You need to have at least a rough idea of what you want to do in the future. Because if you don't have an idea of what you're going to do in the future, you're going to be that like manager at Macca's who hates their life because they're a manager at Macca's and they're like 30 years old. Okay, maybe not 30. I don't know if they keep people on that. I don't know. I never worked there. You need to know what you want to do. Because I am now a fully qualified hairdresser. I knew what I wanted to do and I knew what I had to do to get there. So I knew that VCE and university weren't going to help me. If you want to do something where you need university, you need to get a degree, you need to get a certain level of education, then you need to stick with it as long as you can. Hairdressing for me was easy because you don't need a VCE qualification, you don't need a degree, you don't need anything. You just need to like pursue and keep going with it and not be taken down by anything any boss you ever have is going to say to you. which is hard because of dealing with bullying and things like that. But yeah, say you know in your heart that you want to be a lawyer. Well, you need to go to university to be a lawyer. So you need to sort of stick it out, and no matter what anyone ever tells you, high school is the hardest time of your life, and once you're out of there, if you decide to go to university, it's still going to be hard. But once you get to university, you don't deal with all the shit you deal with bullying like you do at high school. High school bullying it's the kids who just don't have anything to do. When you're in high school, like, people just bully you because that's what they think high school is, that they can just do what they want and no one cares. Once you get to university, nobody cares what you look like, who you are, like what your personality is like. They don't care. Like, you might make some friends and that's awesome, but they're not gonna care about, like, oh, she was bullied, we should pick on her. They don't care about that. Everyone goes to uni to study and do what they want to do. They don't care about what you want to do. So once you get through high school, even though the workload will be harder throughout university, I'm only saying this from what I've heard from friends of mine who are at university, so don't be like, oh, I go to uni and it's easy, because I don't know. What was I? Yeah, like, the workload will be harder, but you won't deal with the abuse that you deal with through high school with bullies and stuff. And once you find what you love to do and you get there, like right now I'm fully qualified and working as a fully qualified hairdresser, and I love my job. I don't get up and be like, I hate my life and I want to just not move and just dig a hole and bury myself. I don't think like that anymore. I'm happy, I have a good life, I have great friends and everything, and it's just, you have to go through that crappy time at high school, and then once you're through it and it's over and you never have to look back at it. A lot of people say that high school is the easiest time of your life, and they're wrong. They are so wrong. Like, yeah, you have to pay taxes and you have to do things for yourself now, but in reality, that's part of growing up. That's what you have to do. It's not like high school, you shouldn't have to go through bullying and abuse and harassment, but you do. And there's not really much you can do about it except push through to do what you want to do with your life and just forget about what every other person says, because if they're bullies now and they decide, I'm just gonna go through high school and then just get a job working for whoever so I can earn heaps of money, you can have the best paying job in the world, but if you hate it, you will just hate going to work. You'll hate getting up in the morning. You'll hate doing everything. If you have a job that you love, and you might not be on the greatest money, like right now I'm working part-time and I have terrible money, but I still love what I do, and I wouldn't have it any other way, because you have to start from the bottom to get to the top, and there is no shortcut. There is no magic solution to get somewhere faster. Yeah, that's so you just have to, when it comes to you're copying a lot of bullying at school, but you know, like, you have to go through certain things to get the job and the career that you want, then you have to just push through until the very end. And I promise you, if you find what you love to do, you will be so much happier than if you decided to just drop out and just work. Because if you drop out and work, you're usually going to start at a crappy job and stay in a crappy job and end up nowhere. That's all the advice I can really give. If there's anything else you wanted to know about with anything I've just said about dealing with bullying and stuff, do let me know in the comments below and I'll try and help as much as I can. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!